Some games launch to standing ovations. Others, crashes, bugs, rage, refunds. But then, some of these games do the impossible. They come back from the dead. Welcome to ArtDock. Today we're talking about the games that were meant to fail, but didn't. When No Man's Sky launched in August 2016, it promised players everything. An infinite universe, planet-sized worlds, space battles, ecosystems, seamless multiplayer. It sounded like a dream. But when players actually loaded into the game, reality hit hard. Day 1 players faced major issues. The gameplay was repetitive, survival mechanics were shallow, and critically, there was no real multiplayer, despite heavy marketing suggesting otherwise. But the biggest nightmare for PC players, the game barely ran. Performance was terribly across the board, and the worst of all, the game shipped without support for certain GPU configurations, especially for older AMD cards. Some players couldn't even load past the main screen. Thousands of refund requests flooded Steam and PSN. On Metacritic, the user score ranked below 2.0. It was being called the biggest scam in gaming history. After intense backlash, Hello Games released a rare statement. They said that they are focusing on customer support first of all, then they'll continue to improve and add new features to the game. So no flashy apology, no over-promises, just work. And they meant it. The following years saw over 20 major updates, all free. No Man's Sky didn't just survive, it evolved and proven that redemption is possible when you stop talking and start patching. When Final Fantasy XIV launched in 2010, Square Enix expected to rival World of Warcraft. Instead, they delivered what players now call one of the worst MMOs ever made. The issues were everywhere. A beautiful world, but no soul. Menus were slow, illogical, and overloaded. Abilities didn't register. No real story cohesion, repetitive fetch quests. Crafting was overcomplicated, yet unrewarding. And even high-end PCs struggled due to the engine being designed for screenshot fidelity, not gameplay fluidity. And perhaps worst of all, the game punished players with fatigue systems, reducing XP gains if you played too much. Players were furious. The Final Fantasy name was tarnished. Reviewers gave it brutal scores. PC Gamer called it an unplayable mess. Square Enix president made a rare move. We deeply regret disappointing our loyal fans. We will win back your trust by making this game into the MMO it was meant to be. So they did the unthinkable. They nuked the game literally. The community watched the devs work in public, posting roadmaps, responding to feedback, and the trust came back. So did the players. And today, Final Fantasy XIV is one of the most beloved MMOs ever made. With expansions like Heavensward, Shadowbringers, and Endwalker being called masterpiece. When Warframe dropped in 2013, it felt like an indie experiment. Free-to-play space ninjas with weird armor, running through repetitive corridors. Critics barely paid attention. Those who did called it shallow. Most maps were recycled tile sheet. Most maps were recycled tile sets with few objectives. Modes, upgrades, crafting with almost no explanation. Visuals were okay, but movement were stiff. And no narrative structure, just basic space fighting with little world building. It also didn't help that Digital Extremes had no major publisher backing them. They were a mid-sized dev barely hanging on. But here's the thing, the players who did stay started talking. The devs listened through live streams, Reddit, and forums. They added open-world zones, cinematic quests, smoother parkour, better weapons, and emotional lore. All with zero pay-to-win mechanics. Warframe's monetization stayed the same. Digital Extremes said, "We didn't make Warframe to be a hit, we made it for the people who liked what we liked." Turns out there were a lot more of them than we thought. Warframe quietly became a genre-defining game, a live service model that works, a blueprint for community-first design, and a masterclass in listening instead of chasing trends. Thanks for watching. If you liked this one, drop a like and tell us, what game do you think made the greatest comeback? Or maybe what game still deserves one? See you next time. Until then, play smart and stay curious. Bye bye.